Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a quick little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the new CJRB Hectare Alt, which is how they should have made it the first time around. If you're not familiar with the Hectare, very, very similar to the Benchmade bug out. The standard version of the knife is good. I've reviewed it. It's very close to this. It's got a different blade shape. And there's an opening hole, which is a little bit tricky to access. And if you're like me, that was one of the big complaints. This version has a blade that's very similar to the new CJRB Pyrite Light and Pyrites from the past. Kind of a, I don't know how I want to classify it. I'll let you decide exactly whether or not you want to call this like a modified sheep's foot or some sort of fancy reverse tanto, whatever you want to call it. You can call it whatever you want, right? Similar to that. So different than the Hectare, and it has thumb studs. So that makes it essentially the perfect version of this knife. It's also very, very inexpensive, and spoiler alert, it's really, really good. If you've ever looked at the Benchmade bug out and you're like, I like that general profile and the idea of it, I'm just not willing to spend $180 on it. I completely understand. This is probably the way to go for you. I'll link this in the description. You can check it out if you want to. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's go ahead and get started here with a measurement. There's really not a ton to say. That's why I say it's going to be fast. You know, I'm going to try anyways. Overall length here of the Hectare Alt coming in at 7 1/4 inches. Blade length coming in at 3 1/8. Cutting edge coming in at 2.75. Let's put it up against the Pyrite Light and the the standard Pyrite. Just so you guys can get a good idea of size. Sorry, we're going to move these just a little bit. So it's almost identical to the Pyrite. I think this is going to be a good option for people who like the idea of the Pyrite and just don't want the button lock, because this guy has a crossbar lock. The Pyrite Light is a little bit of a different shape. It's a little longer, right? So you can see here, very, very similar. Almost identical blade shapes, just slightly shorter right here in blade than the Pyrite Light. How about some size comparisons up against some other familiar knives? Any custom skills you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against the 8010 and the 8020.5. Very, very similar to the overall size of the 8020.5, but far less bulky. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? Once again, very close. I think almost identical to the overall length of the Spyderco Para 3 with a slightly longer cutting edge, slightly. Really similar ergonomically. Very, very similar. Just totally different shape of knife. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Grip Cylinder, in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. And you know what? If we're going to do that, let's go ahead and put it up against the actual Benchmade bug out so that you guys can get kind of an idea. It is really similar, but not identical. They did not copy it, right? And the bug out's not an original a drop point blade with a standard knife handle is not really an original design anyway. So that's fine. How's the action on this knife? It uses a crossbar lock, which they do a good job of, or with, right? It's not going to be like, you know, apocalypse indestructible, but definitely more reliable than a standard plunge lock, right? The Omega springs on this guy are about medium. So it's similar to Benchmade, maybe slightly higher tension, but it feels good. It runs on bearings. You pull these back and you got nice smooth action. You use the thumb studs to flick it out, which work way better than that weird opening hole on the other Hectare. Yeah, that just, that really works. So that's nice. The action's good. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's not, you know, blowing my mind spectacular, but it is the satisfying action that we wanted with the original Hectare. So let's go ahead and do a comparison with these knives here in terms of thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. I was stumbling around what I normally call that. Carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3, slightly thinner. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3. So lengthwise, it's about the same as the Para 3. Height-wise, not quite as tall. Definitely smaller than the PM2. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. We have a T8 pivot, and guess what? T8 body screws. Thank goodness. We have full nested steel liners in here, which means we don't need a screw right here or up here for the stop pin like Benchmade does. I don't know why they insist on that, right? So just a couple of screws, and then you have T6 screws for the pocket clip, and we have mounting positions on both sides. Obviously, the filler screw over here is still a T8, but the screws for the actual clip, which will thread in either way, are T6. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and weigh the knife. So this is not pure carbon fiber. It's like a laminate carbon fiber G10, which is fine. As of right now, I want to stress this. The only version of this knife that is available on their website is carbon fiber, this carbon fiber laminate with the black AR RPM 9. There is no way that this is the only version of this knife that they plan to release. So we should just expect that this will probably come out in like every color of the rainbow, a bunch of different materials, probably different blade materials, right? They might even do a light version of it that costs, $30 like this guy, right? So this is the materials you're looking at right now, but there's no way that they're like, yeah, we just did one and it's this carbon fiber stuff, right? So the weight on this guy, which, whoops, we can't push tear. We have to change the unit here. The weight on this guy is coming in at 2.8 ounces, which is incredibly lightweight. That's not as lightweight as the bug out. Yeah, but does it really matter? I don't know. I do know. No, it doesn't. This is under what I call super lightweight or ultra lightweight, which is under 3 ounces. So I don't have an issue with that at all. And it's got great blade to weight ratio. The balance is also right behind the pivot, so that's good. And it feels nice and lightweight and compact without feeling delicate, which is one of the biggest issues that I had with the bug out. All right, let's go ahead and move into the. Oh wait, we got to do the blade stock thickness here. Blade stock thickness is coming in at nice and thin. I'm gonna 99 thousandths there. Nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes. While I was carrying this, and I wanna point this out to you guys, this is a pre-production sample, right? Artisan Cutlery and CJRB in the past have definitely had their fair share of weird fit and finish issues, but they usually are good about resolving it, and they definitely can make a perfect product. I also have definitely noticed a difference between pre-production samples of knives and final production versions. So again, this is a pre-production sample. I very much doubt that they will all have this. I bet that this is just something that's slightly wonky with mine, but I kept feeling like I could push this down a little bit more. And I was like, oh, what is happening here? There's a little bit of play in the close position. Now, it probably has to do with where this is like falling into place in like that, essentially the closed position stop. And it should just sink in slightly more to get the blade to come down completely, because there's like this weird, it's got closed position play. I was worried that it was like smacking into something. I was like, is the blade like contacting some stop pin or something? No, it's not bouncing off of anything, which definitely, we've seen knives do that before from, older models from CJRB and Artisan Cutlery, but that's not the case. It's just got a weird amount of closed position play. Again, probably just a pre-production sample thing. But if you have picked this knife up and you've noticed that yours is also got this like weird amount of, can you hear it right there? If you've noticed that, let me know, right? Now, this didn't affect my carry time or, usage with the knife in any way. I mean, the Omega Springs provide enough tension to keep the blade closed, right? If you're sprinting or, you whiplash, then maybe you can get the blade to whip out. But I can do that with some of the heaviest detent knives that I own, including my Hinder XM24 in full tie. That's got one of the heaviest detents of any knife I own, and I can easily whip that thing out. So as long as you aren't doing parkour or, I don't know, like if you're scaling buildings or whatever, you're hanging upside down or, whatever, it shouldn't come out. It was fine. I just noticed that. But the action's fine. The manipulation of the lock is fine. The lockup itself, like I said, is also fine. I don't have an issue with any of that, but I felt obligated to point that out to you guys as a potential fit and finish issue with this knife. Anyways, ergonomics, exactly what you'd expect. They're very good. This is a bug out with a choke up spot, which I love. Not everybody loves that, but it still leaves you with plenty of functional edge. And this is nice. It's open. It doesn't have a flipper tab. This area of the knife is not curved the exact same way as the the choil, and it's the same way on, the standard Pyrite. The new Pyrite Lite definitely has a larger area, and I do wish that this was exactly like that, but it's fine. There's not a huge flipper tab here that's really getting in your way. It's plenty comfortable and it's plenty roomy. The transition from this area to this area is also nice and soft. I don't feel like, even if I am rocking back on this area, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, my finger's gonna explode from pain or anything like that. It's fine, right? These scales are flat. I would love to see, if you guys do a G10 version, do that layered stuff you guys do. That's really cool when you get the two-tone. I saw it on the shale when I was looking through Blade HQ's new arrivals. You had a shale that was layered teal and orange G10, and you did some outlines and some texture patterns, and you could see the color underneath coming through, and I thought that was really, really neat. I think you guys should definitely do that with these. Obviously, offer some solid colors, right? Whether it's micarta or G10, whatever, right? Or it's even the injectable plastic if you want to go super cheap. Yeah, offer different colors. I think that would be really, really cool. And, these are the types of knives that a lot of people are going to be after, given the straightforward utilitarian handle profile and blade shape, combined with the fact that it's just not very expensive. So it makes sense that people are going to want to get that plus the color that they want, the setup that they want. But I feel like I don't have to tell CJRB and Artisan Cutlery that. I feel like they probably know. But yeah, that would be really cool. I just would love to see like a little area carved out, like on the shale, and then it's got a little texture pattern or something like that. I think that would just be really neat. Obviously, also, I'd love to see a non-coated version of the blade, which I'm sure that they will do. But I think the potentially, the most exciting part about this is the fact that they could do premium versions of this in S90V and ideally aluminum to sort of duplicate what they did with the Prado on Blade HQ. If you don't know about that, they did a steel framed S90V Prado for about $100. Oh my gosh. Do this in S90V with G10 or something like that for $100. Like that would, people would just lose their minds, right? But whatever version of this that they come out with, I'm sure will be just fine, as long as it doesn't have that weird closed position movement, right? This is a little bit floppy in here. But the reason I'm hesitant to say that that's probably going to be an issue with the production ones is because none of their other crossbar lock knives that I've handled exhibit that. It's not typical to have that type of closed position play in these knives. These are plunge locks, and even then, like it's hardly anything. So anyways, yeah, the blade shape is good, whether you want to call this modified sheep's foot, whatever, reverse tanta, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to try and properly identify it for whoever. The blade shape police, right? Blade geometry is good, slicing good. I have EDC'd so many knives from CJRB with this general blade shape. It's just a good blade shape, nice and thin, right? And get your finger up here. Really good. It says CJRB on one side, on the other side, it has to have the code. I don't know why. And then AR RPM 9, which is, as we now know, a spray form version of 440B or 9CR18 MOV, right? That's essentially what it is, which is fine. Stainless, not going to win any edge retention awards, but fine for this territory, easy to sharpen, and plenty tough. A good balance of attributes that you would want on a knife like this anyway. The fit and finish all the way around outside of this weird closed position play thing is good. I don't have any issues outside of that. Cutting bevel's nice and even, right? The scales all fit, etc. Love that you can, mount your pocket clip on either side. They're usually good about that. The pocket clip shape itself is okay, right? It's not super long or obtrusive or anything like that. Nice and deep carry. There's a lanyard hole. Yay. You can put a lanyard on it, right? The stop pin's located in its usual spot, and there's a little tiny bit of shouldering. There is no blade play up, down, left, or right. That's awesome. That's what we like to see. No stick and no pivot lash. Normal, right? It just feels like a budget axis lock, right? It's not gonna, oh my gosh, it's like Crisco, it's buttered glass smooth, right? No, it's fine. It's exactly what you'd expect for a crossbar lock at this price point, right? Maybe a little bit bumpy, but again, I expect that from a pre-production sample. So, for example, the large pyrite that I got, the pre-production version, had a whole bunch of like weird grittiness to it, and then the actual, the production versions of these knives are always really nice. So, yeah. The bearings inside here feel a little bit bumpy, but I doubt they will be on the production versions, right? Still want to know if you've got this and you feel like there's an issue. I'd still like to know, but that's my guess. So yeah, the final, and it is centered. So here we go. Final price tag on this guy, $50. That's fine. I'd love to see it. And, if you're going to do carbon fiber, do full carbon fiber. Do full carbon fiber scales or don't do it. The laminate stuff just drives me nuts. Obviously, we need, different blade shapes, coated and non-coated. I'd love to see the rose gold thing that you guys do periodically. That's really cool. I would love to see a light version of it that comes in at like $30 because this is like a no-brainer, like one of the best budget knives of all time potential. If we're talking $30, AR RPM 9 and contoured injection mold scales like this, that would be fantastic. That's really going to attract a lot of people. But you also need to do semi-premium and full premium versions of this. I think that would be really, really nice, assuming that everything has the closed position play thing figured out, right? This is too wiggly, right? Willing to give the benefit of the doubt, though. But yeah, assuming that closed position play is not present on the production versions of these knives, this is extremely recommendable, and it solves the annoying thing with the regular one, with the hole being not completely inaccessible, just like I shouldn't have to try that hard, right? The thumb studs are just better. So yeah, recommendable. I'm going to put it on my recommended knives playlist as well as my cheap knives I like playlist. Darn it, this video didn't end up being short at all. It's a 16-minute video. All right, no, 17 minutes. Okay, well, sorry I lied to you guys. Anyways, thanks so much to CJRB. Pick this knife up, it's cool. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex and on TikTok at _metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.